Today on the Transplant Helper, I'm going to be talking to you about the three major keys to your survival as well as your quality of life going forward after transplant. Stay tuned.
Hit the subscribe button and the bell notification to become part of the Transplant Helper community.
Hey folks, welcome back to the Transplant Helper again today. My name is Jim Merle and welcome to a brand new season of the Transplant Helper. I'm excited to be beginning yet another year of this, hopefully, and maybe even years of this. And I'm trying to do it in a brand new setup, a brand new kind of a studio type situation. You can give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down whether or not this appeals to you. But nonetheless, I'm trying to make some improvements with the program here, but I do not intend to change the content other than to kind of make it a little bit more perfect for you, okay? And the only way I'm going to be able to accomplish that is for you to continue commenting below these videos, letting me know the topics, the subjects, the questions that you have so that we can cover those in successive episodes coming in the next year or two or three or 50. Who knows? I plan to live a long time. How about you? Nonetheless, just go ahead and give me those comments, those thoughts, those ideas so that we can address those things and discuss them together. With that being said, today we're going to be talking about some of the three major keys to survival, some of the things that have to be in the forefront of your mind if you want to live a long, yea, even a high quality life post-transplant. Because I can speak from experience. Prior to transplant, which was almost 9 years ago, yes, I lived life, but it wasn't a high quality life, okay? I basically slept on a couch 16, 18 hours a day. I was not able to do a whole lot for myself. When I did get up and do things, I paid an ultimate price for that, in that I was back on the couch again, knocked out of sleep. It just wasn't a high quality life. So I determined myself that if and when transplant ever came for me, and it did, that I would live the best life and I would try my best to do whatever it took in order to make that quality of life as high, way up here, as high as it possibly could be. So these keys are some of the things I've been able to use to accomplish that. Number one, the first key always has to be that of medication, okay? Medication. I know I'm not trying to beat a dead horse here, but here on the program, I have to admit that medication is the number one thing that you need to get right in your life in order to have your life post-transplant, because in the current situation we're in, we just can't go without them. Now, maybe there's going to be a future down the road. I suppose there will be, when anti-rejection medications will not be so much a part of our daily routine. Maybe we can get down to, taking an injection or an IV, or maybe even nothing. Who knows, with some genetics. But currently, right now, those medications are extremely important. And whether or not we're able and willing to take them on time, every time, and in the right way, that makes all the difference in the world into our survival. And it doesn't really matter in life what else you do. Say, for example, you've got a wonderful exercise program, a healthy diet, you don't take risk in life. Doesn't matter at all if you're unwilling to take your anti-rejection medications properly, because in just a few days or maybe weeks, you likely won't even have that life, okay? So in order to show appreciation for my gift and really just to try to accomplish something for myself, medication always stands at the forefront of what I'm willing to do. Number two, not only medication, but cooperation. Okay, cooperation is yet another key to survival, because you and I, we have teams, okay? We have doctors, we have nurses, we have coordinators, we have caregivers, family members. We have a whole slew of people that are packed around us, many of which are highly educated in dealing with patients just like you, but they're totally unwilling to do that or unable to do that if I'm not willing to cooperate. And that cooperation obviously goes both ways. I've got to be willing to do what they ask, but at the same time, they've got to be willing to be flexible in what they ask of me. And I mean by that, my team. So it's going to take a real effort, a cooperative effort of you and I sitting down with our team members, having discussions, real discussions, sometimes open, maybe even some hard discussions, to where we sit down and talk about our situation and we lay out what the care plan will be, and always be looking for that care plan to evolve just a bit. Now, I'm certainly a guy who loves routine. I love things that pretty much stay the same. But at the same time, if there are any advancements out there, anything things that are improving about transplant, I want to be the first to be in on that. So I'm willing to make a few tweaks and a few changes to cooperate in order to make my best life happen. So that is very important. But not only medication and cooperation, thirdly, there has to be information, okay? And I'm looking right there. See you? I'm pointing at you. You are the key to this. You are the one that matters in this scenario, because nobody out there, nobody, not the doctors, the nurses, the coordinators, the caregivers, not anybody and everybody combined know as much about you as you do. And so you've got to be the one that gathers information, that knows your body, that focuses on what's going on in your life moment by moment and day by day, whether or not you physically journal that or you just kind of file it away. You know, I've got this mastermind right here. You see that? That says a lot. There's not a lot up there. It's pretty empty. But, you got to be willing to file this stuff away and be ready and prepared to give those physicians that information that they need. And that's going to attribute itself in so many ways. Probably one of the most basic part of that, when you go into clinic, I'm going into clinic next month. I'm going to go in there with my guns loaded with my vitals, for example. They're going to take my blood pressure. They're going to take my heart rate, the basics right there. But I'm going to be able to go in and say, okay, here's the deal. You check my blood pressure right now. Looks good, or maybe it doesn't. And here's what it looks like on an average day. I've got to discover my own baselines. What is a realistic blood pressure, a realistic heart rate, or weight for me? What are some of the other things about my day that I need to be able to lay out in information, let them understand what I'm able to do and willing to do, or maybe desire to do in life? Because without information that communicates itself from you unto your team, they basically have nothing to go on. I've been there and done that before, maybe when I was sick, had a cold, a flu, a virus, or whatever, gone into a general practitioner, walk in the door, they walk in the room, maybe they stand 5 or 6 foot apart. There's some who won't even touch you, but even if they do, I've been in the room before with the doctors that say, okay, what's going on with you? I say, well, I don't feel good. Okay, are you running a fever? A little bit. Does your throat hurt? Some. When you give them that type of information, don't be surprised at the end of the visit, they say, well, it sounds like to me you're sick and I'm going to prescribe you X and B antibiotic and I'll give you a shot and go home and tell me if you feel better. Of course they did that. Of course they gave you that generic treatment because you didn't give them the information that they needed. So information is going to be the key. And sometimes that information is going to begin within you, but then it's going to have to come from out of you. And I mean by that, and I'm not afraid to do this. I do this every time. If I've got an issue going on, I'm not afraid to sit down in front of Google. I'll go to a Google Doc, so to speak. But I'll go to a Google Doc and I'll go ahead and do some research and I'll try to find out, based on this symptom and this and this and that that's going on with me or this problem, here's what might be going on with me. And if I'm sitting in front of a cardiologist who may not be, totally in tune with my situation, maybe I can make some suggestions. I'm not going to try to be the doc, especially based on my Google Doc education, but I'm going to give them information they need so that they can make a choice. And a lot of times the best choice for my cardiology team is say, hey, Jim, we want to send you down to infectious disease, or we want to send you over here to pulmonology, or we want to send you down for this test or that, so they can continue to gather information and make the best diagnoses possible for you. So that's going to be a real key, okay? Medication, we already knew. Cooperation, we already knew. Information, we already knew. But I'm just trying to illustrate to you by that long talk that the information has to be there. You got to know your body. You got to know your situation, know your illnesses, your diseases, and then be willing to sit down with your team and talk those things out so that they can make the best advice available to you so you can live the longest life. Thank you so much for joining me today. Again, if you've got any comment or suggestion or question, please drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. I try to read every one of my comments. I try to reply back to most all of them. I miss a few sometimes or get behind. But please comment below. That's where this community really exists, and it's where I like to be. So let's join in there. By the way, let me remind you, if you need to get in touch with me personally, my cell phone number is here on the screen right now. We'll put the number up on the screen right now, and you're more than welcome to give me a call if you ever need anything at all. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, stay stronger, friends.